So I guess we're live now.
Yeah, we're live.
Imran.
Usman.
Don't say my name like that, man. Every time you say my name like that, I just feel a bit hurt.
Usman.
I've got my cat sleeping here. Look at him.
That's cute.
He's so happy.
Did I finish my tea off?
You can do. I mean, I still need to finish
No, I
my
said,
tea.
did I finish my tea off? I said, did I finish my tea off?
I'm not really paying attention to you, to be honest.
Standard.
Okay, so let's start this show, man.
Come
We're
on.
talking a lot of
What are we
nonsense.
doing?
Today, welcome to the first ever live show that we're doing. This is probably going to be a rinky-dink kind of show because I've got Imran. We've got we've got Alex over here who's helping us keep the show on track, and then I've got my cat over here and he's sleeping and looking at me thinking, what the hell are you doing? So yeah, first ever live show on the channel, and we're going to be talking about something that I'm very familiar with, something that Imran has given me a bit of hard time on occasions. Clickbait articles, because I write a lot of them. I talk a lot of nonsense in some of my articles, and I get it. You know, Imran's already like getting ready to like, oh, what to talk to this guy.
Rumble, yeah, left hook, right hook. That's what it's all about.
What's it about, man? Look, I'm just writing articles.
Yeah,
mostly
yeah.
about Fujifilm. Oh, hello, Mumu. Hi
I
there. Hey, come here. Come here. Good boy. No, he doesn't want to come. But yeah, clickbait articles, and the problem with them, I mean, the requirements of them. I mean, I've been writing a lot of articles. I don't think you've read a lot of my articles, because every time you see...
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, it's not. There's no jumping in. Let's carry on.
Like what you just said, it's not a matter of not reading your articles. Your articles, I think, are sometimes so controversial that one just comes by them in some way or the other. Like there'll be some comment or someone has said something or whatever. And it's not a bad thing sometimes. But that's the whole purpose of clickbait sort of articles, isn't it? It's like...
Well, I think that... So I don't try and be controversial. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't.
No, it's how people take it, I guess, isn't it?
I guess so, but let's be real about it, okay? I'm literally just talking about cameras.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about anything of any real significance. I'm talking about camera brands.
But we're talking to, a community of people who actually love the subject of cameras and photography, and then you kind of like just, provoking them a little bit.
But no, that's not the intention. The idea behind...
I'm not talking about the intention at all.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the reaction.
Okay, that's fair.
What happens on the other side? You're trying to say, is the sun brighter than the moon, and why isn't it? But the moon's brighter because of whatever reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't really perhaps come across, not from your part, but when the person's reading it.
Maybe, but let's be real for a minute, okay? When a lot of people like say, oh, he's just being controversial for no reason, and what's that? In my head, I'm thinking, well, all I'm doing is presenting an opinion, like just an opinion that I have based on some of the equipment that I've been using, because I get to use a lot of equipment, and it's one of those things that I tend to do. And I've been fortunate in that regard. I've built up a good amount of relationship with like a number of companies, and one, they send me equipment. Two, I buy equipment, and three, some companies just want me to review, or some companies just kind of like what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like it's just part of the territory when you're doing reviews, right? You get sent equipment, and you'll draw opinions, and sometimes those opinions aren't exactly 100% aligned with everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm not like trying to be controversial. So the last controversial article that I wrote the most controversial article that I wrote recently was about Fujifilm, which is like the thumbnail that I used for this one. And I talked about how I don't particularly like Fujifilm colors. I don't like Fuji colors because, for a number of reasons. And every time I talk to like people who shoot with Fujifilm, my cat's going nuts.
He's playing about, he's having fun, isn't it?
But every time I talk to people that shoot with Fujifilm, they'll talk about, oh, Fujifilm has the best colors ever. And I'm like, I want to believe that. I wanted to believe that, and I was shooting with it, and I was like, yeah, they kind of suck. They kind of really suck, because Fujifilm colors, they're just trying to like mimic film. And I'm sorry, but I don't really want to filter on my images, okay? I'm not freaking shooting for Instagram if I've got a client. I don't particularly care about these crappy filters. I want my images to look like the scene instead of what the film preset looked like when people used to shoot with film. Because to me, that's a limitation when it comes to that. If you want to... It's great for certain things, but it might not be great. It's not great for commercial work.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Unfortunately, I don't have experience with Fuji because.
But that's not the point. The point I'm making is that. Sorry, I don't interrupt. That's not the point. The point I'm making is that I've shoot with these cameras. I bought these cameras. I bought a bunch of Fuji cameras. Love them. I just don't like Fuji colors. So I talked about that and I presented like evidence. And in fact, I did present some evidence to show that, look, actually, it's not that great. You know, people just say that they're great. And then somehow that's controversial. But I don't think that's controversial.
No, but it isn't at all. I don't think it is. I mean, I don't agree or disagree with you. It's just a matter of opinion. See, this is what you feel for your work and your surrounding and for what you're doing. You don't feel it works. But obviously there will be people there who think it does work. Now, I'm going to say something what you just said some here, right? So you talked about color science. Again, something that I don't even go with. I totally ignore it when people say, you know, color science, sharpness, things like this. I switch off.
I know you don't care.
Even get into that. How many times we had this discussion about sharpness? I say, Usman, just be quiet. Or I just stay quiet and you talk on the phone for 4 hours and you still haven't finished about your color science and stuff. Now, the thing is, the reason I say this is because it's easy to do what you want to do.
But you don't care. I get that. But it's part of my job. If I'm reviewing something...
No, of course it is. Of course. And I totally get that. Like, this is where... I believe that controversy does come in, where the people that don't care feel like they've just been provoked and just been pinched for some bizarre reason and think, why is he picking on us? There's no need. But you're not doing it for that intention or that purpose.
No, of course
You're doing it because it's part of your job.
Yeah, I have to review things. I have to talk about certain things. But everybody doesn't
understand that. This is why I feel I'm patient with you.
I understand. You tolerate me.
I tolerate that because I understand where you're coming from, right? You know, whether you're chatting... Can I say the word or not? Can I?
Probably not.
I don't know. Like, yeah. You know,
whether you're chatting spit.
Whether you're chatting it or not. I mean, it's like, I know what you like, but even the one when you did the you know, the infamous Hasselblad on iPhone. I mean, we can't forget that, can we?
But that wasn't...
No. But still, it was like, really?
Why did you... Oh, yeah. No, I mean...
That was like, really? How are you even trying to do this? Really? I get what you... Logically, it made sense. On paper, in theory, it made sense. What you were trying to achieve.
I wasn't really... So here's the thing. I don't do it to try and, like, provoke people in any way, shape, or form. I'm just doing it because...
No, but that one did beg the question, didn't it? Hear me out. Why? Really?
Hear me out. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I compared the Hasselblad to the iPhone. It was nothing but purely out of curiosity. I just wanted to see, you know, iPhone's tiny sensor camera. You know, they're kind of sucky, but they're not kind of... Well, it's not kind of sucky. I'm saying compared to like a Hasselblad. It's not going to
we are talking about which iPhone now, so just so...
iPhone 7.
We're talking
7
iPhone
Plus.
7.
Yeah.
Since then, these phones have come a long way.
But hear me out. Let me finish what I was saying. So, at the time, I wasn't like trying to look at it and be like, oh yeah, I can get better images with my iPhone. No, I was just thinking, oh wait, there are certain techniques that you can use. What if like this technique is pretty cool, mean stacking and panoramas. It's a pretty cool technique. How far can you like expand that technique? Could you do it with an iPhone? Like, you know, what if I did it with an iPhone? Would it be comparable in theory to a Hasselblad? I was just curious about that. Genuine curiosity. I put that up and I was like, and then I produced the image and I was like, wow, you know, it's not as good as the Hasselblad in a lot of areas, like colors, for example, not even close.
Yeah.
But this is pretty good.
Yeah,
like,
but
the technique works.
I think it's one of those situations where some curiosities are better just left alone.
Why?
You know?
Why?
Sometimes, but again, it comes back to that, doesn't it? What's the need?
Because, so, I think there's...
I get it.
If there's something interesting... I'm not doing it to try...
It's interesting. I will give you that. It definitely was interesting and unique.
It was just entirely a matter of interest. There wasn't anything serious about it. There wasn't... Like, most of the comparisons that we do, right, on the channel, most of the comparisons, they're not serious. They're not like... Oh yeah, this brand is the best. This brand's gonna be...
But you can't say that anyway. Because
but it's not even like that. Because I enjoy pretty much every camera brand, except for Nikon. No, I'm kidding. No, I like Nikon. I like Nikon.
See, now that's where we differ totally.
Yeah, you hate Nikon.
No, I don't hate Nikon.
You just despise them. Why? They're great.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, go on. Yeah. So I love every camera brand really. I like a lot of things about every camera brand. There are certain things I dislike about them. There are certain things I like about them. I love Phase 1s for a number of reasons. I love Hasselblad for a number. I love Fujifilm for... There's a reason why I like every single camera brand. So it's nothing that I do ever comes from a point of like, oh, this brand, I freaking hate them. I'm going to go after them. Because I like all of them. I mean, I use all of them. Except for Nikon.
Again, it's down to what you're doing. It's down to your job, which allows you to do this, and hence it's good for you to do this. If you're gonna come across as somebody who's reviewing products, who's talking, you have to know. You have to have the hands-on experience. See, for me, it's not something I ever do.
No, you just want to go out and shoot,
I just
which
want
is
to go
fine.
out, shoot, get the job done. And the thing is that learning a new technology or a new thing altogether, it's just going to take time. And I've currently bought the mirrorless R6, which I absolutely hate.
Which I'm a bit jealous. You hate it?
I can't for the life of me get used to electronic viewfinder. I never will. I'm always, and I just cannot use
you shoot video.
It's
How you gonna like complain about electric viewfinder
no, but I'm not,
when you're shooting video?
I'm not using the electric viewfinder when I'm doing video.
So what do you do then? Back of the screen, right?
So back of the screen, just like I was doing with the Windy X.
Yeah, of course.
And the family of stuff. I was using, behind the screen. Even when I was shooting my landscapes and stuff, I was doing behind the screen. Only when I was doing commercial work, weddings, other stuff, I was using the viewfinder. And for me, it's like, we know that in the mirrorless, we just have a tiny monitor replicating what the sensor might be seeing. Yeah. And to me, it's not true and it's not real. The colors just don't seem right. I just can't get used to that, and I don't think I will. So hence, I will always be using the screen. And it's not only that. For over a decade, I've been using the 1DX series. I'm so used to it ergonomically and fitting in the hand and everything. I've even bought battery grips for both of these cameras, and they still don't feel the same. I just can't get used to them.
Okay, between us three, you know how you have like Alex. You know when you have like the old school mentality type photographer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Imran's definitely that. Imran's like between us three.
I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree in a good way. I know what you mean.
I don't mean that in a mean way, in any way, shape, or form. I mean that in a sense that the last time I tried to talk to you about, because I'm interested in like the nerdy stuff. The last time I don't do it anymore. But the last time, which was a few years ago, when I tried to talk to you about which lens is sharper, you were just like, "Oh."
That's what I mean.
I really don't give a crap. Really? Can I go out and do my job with it? That's all I give a crap about. Yeah. I don't care about anything.
And I can do what
and
I
respect that. I respect that.
I'm not there looking at all the charts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is
you just want to go out.
I want to go out, do my
shoot,
stuff. I can
get paid,
the result, get paid, and carry on the next day.
Yeah.
But that again, it comes down to the purpose of something. That isn't really what you're out to do. But
you know what? Some people are going to mistake that as me saying that someone who only cares about the job is going to be old school photographer. That's not what I mean. What I mean by old school is someone who's got that kind of just not giving a crap about gear in any way, shape, or form.
No, it's not that. It's not a matter of not. We do
I know you care about.
We do give a crap because it has to perform well.
Yeah, but you're not really interested in.
All the science and all the stuff behind it.
Yeah.
No, we're
You're just interested in
chromatic aberration and distortion and stuff. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll be cool. We'll tell the client that it's a new thing that's coming and it looks.
It's just
cool.
A filter in it. Don't worry about it.
It's a natural vignette in, and I'm sure we can go with it. So don't worry about it. Stuff like this. We're not going to be. No client is ever going to come and say, "Oh, Imran, there's too much purple because of you. You shot at 1.2.
I don't know about this one. It looks like there's a little bit of pin cushion distortion.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't bring your aberrations down and stuff in Camera Raw, did you?
Oh, you shot your F11. I see a little bit of diffraction.
It's never going to happen, So that's why these things never bother us.
No, from a client perspective, I've never had a client ever ask me about what camera I'm shooting. Never.
I had once.
Did you?
I did, which was really funny. It was really funny. I don't know.
Was he someone who was also interested in photography?
No, it was down to misinformation being provided. So the client, who I'm not going to name, was
Do I know him?
wanting.
Do I know him?
Yeah.
Okay, I do know him.
Tell you.
Okay, yeah.
You'll know the brand. You'll know the brand, but you won't know the people. So
okay, but I know the person.
People did briefly kind of warn me not to work with them, and I'm not the type to listen. I'll just
I definitely know who it is now.
And so I went down, and it was the question of what camera is this, and what does it do, and what is it like, and they're coming out with all these big names like phase ones and all that kind of stuff. And I was trying to understand why they're asking the question, because it helps you answer the question better. And it was down to, they were just, and I was like, okay, where are these images going in the end? And how big are we printing that you're asking me about phase ones? Are they going on the billboard or side of your shop? What's happening with them? Or no, they're just going to go on the website, literally, they're going to last for a month, if anything, and we're going to turn around, and we're going to have new items.
Want that color science in it, bro.
And I was, the biggest that they're going to have these pictures is, 1920 by 1080, give or take, or HD.
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell them, even if I shot this with my mobile phone, they will still be adequate enough. They will still be perfect.
8 megapixels
right?
more than enough for online.
More than enough, right? 2 megapixel, whatever. And I just couldn't really get it. Oh no, but the previous guy who we this is the funny bit. The previous guy who we used told us this, but we didn't like his images, and that's why I was there.
Do you know why he must have told him that?
When he said that,
no. Do you know why he said that? Do you know why he said that? He's like, oh yeah, you got to use a phase 1 or a Hasselblad in it. I'm the only person in this area who's got a phase 1. That's why he did it. So then they would come back and hire him.
Well, I don't know. He was just saying, oh, he used a small camera, and I don't know what he was using. I'm not really interested what the previous guy was trying to do or what they were using. It doesn't really affect me in any way. I'm there to do a job and to please the client. When I know that they're getting a bit arsey or a little silly like this, it's simple. I just got my laptop out and I says, we're just going to shoot as images as we go along, just tether. And I put a preset on in Lightroom. As he was seeing the images, he was just passing them off. I said, press 5 star as you're going along, which means they're done. Yeah. And then as the basic edits were going on and the adjustments going on, they were literally done. I just presented them to them straight away. He's like, oh, you're not going to go and edit them? I go, are you happy with what you've seen? He says, yeah, I am. I go, there you go, you got high resolution images. I'll do them smaller scale for you.
Was this with your 1DX?
And yeah,
20 megapixels, that's fine.
And
that's more than enough.
He was happy with that, the 1DX Mark II, and he was not the 1DX Mark 1, sorry. And he was happy with that. So again, it was just funny. I never dealt with him again. I just didn't want to go back. I just felt it was really awkward and a bit strange. Yeah. And it's not something I like to deal with, really. I like it to be, and it's not always going to be the fact that you can get best clients, but I like the experience to be a good one.
I've never had it with a client. Like, a client has never ever asked me what equipment you're using. What they generally do is they tell me what spec they want to print at. So they'll say, okay, we need to print.
Which is what you need to know.
Yeah, that's what I need to know. So they'll just. So the last client that printed something massive was, they were like, okay, we're gonna print, and they just took me to the place and they said, we're gonna print on this corridor. I'm like, okay then.
I know what to do.
Yeah, they
I'm
just
showed me. I'm gonna get my iPhone out because I was good as a Hasselblad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just stitch all the images together. And then she was like, okay, we're going to print on this huge corridor and we're going to have it all across. And I was like, okay, so corridor, people are going to be walking pretty close. This needs to be a high DPI. It's not going to be at a distance. I think I need a phase 1 for something like this. I need the resolution. And even then, 100 megapixel wasn't enough. I had to stitch some images together just to be able to get it so that you've got 300 all across. I could have scaled it up and that would have been fine. But I just wanted to make sure that I make that impression where they don't need to scale and there's just less. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, okay, here's a file. It's going to print perfect. As soon as you take it there, it's going to be fine. There's no issue. So that was the only time where in fact, that's the only conversations I've generally had with clients where they just tell me how big they want to print. So I don't print because I'm lazy, but my clients do, right? Or did pre-pandemic. But whenever they do, they just tell me how big they want to print. They just tell me the specs, and then I just go off and shoot according to that. So it's easy. But they've never ever told me about, what gear do you shoot with or whatever, this and that, how many megapixels. Like, they don't even know. She didn't even know what megapixels were. She had no. She had no interest in that.
It's not their job.
It wasn't
to know
even.
That. It's not a matter of interest, though, is it?
No, it wasn't. She was just not interested. Yeah. Because at any point, anyone tried to talk, like I wasn't talking, like one of the agency people was trying to talk to her about gear or whatever, like, oh, what camera do you think we should be able to? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like looking at the agency person like, just that's my job. I'm going to go off and do it. Don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. And then she just kind of, stayed quiet. But anyway, that's a different thing. But in terms of like gear, I think that in one sense, I get it. Like, as if I'm going out and shooting as a photographer, I'm not particularly bothered about camera. Like, I still shoot with a 5 DSR. I haven't upgraded my camera since like 2016 or whatever, right? And I'm completely fine with that. I don't.
But is that because there's no need? Is that because
I don't have a need for it. Yeah, I'm fine. I have no need. Like, I have no desire to upgrade my gear. No desire whatsoever. I'm fine. I know that Canon's come out with all these mirrorless equipment or whatever, and I test it quite extensively, and I get to shoot with it for long periods of time. But I'm not gonna buy it because I don't.
If you don't need it, you're not going to buy it.
I still shoot with a 5 DSR. I'm very fine with that.
So the subjects don't run away.
Exactly. My subjects don't move quick. I don't need autofocus. Buildings are just very stable. I don't particularly need that.
See, that's where I think I'm a bit different, where it's
No, but
I should
you're
be
going into
shooting-
filming, which is very different. And you're,
No, I mean talking pre coming back. Let's talk like the past 2020 and what year are we in now? 2021.
22 in it.
So 2020 and before, when I was doing quite a range of stuff, I was always shooting
Yeah.
the London stuff. Then I was shooting a bit of food and then
Yeah.
the furniture.
You
when
had,
came
but you
and
needed a
handled-
camera
so I
which could
was-
keep up with like a lot of different
lot,
genres.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because you were
and
doing
that's always been
weddings, you
my
were doing
argument.
portraits, you were doing travel, you were doing
Also,
landscape, and
I
you were going up
remember-
mountains and whatever.
I remember doing a
Complaining
wedding.
about your back.
I remember doing a wedding where it was actually torrential rainfall,
Oof.
and you have to, you can't just say, okay, I'm not going to shoot because it's raining.
No, you got to shoot.
You got to shoot.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
wedding's happening.
Get an umbrella and do
And
whatever you have to
I
do.
was stood in the rain, quite clearly remember, and my camera was getting wet. Had a hood down, so my lens was kind of okay. It wasn't a long kind of shot anyway, so we were all right.
But the 1DX is fine.
It was perfect. So when the
fine.
time went past, your camera's getting wet, I go, trust me,
It's
perfect.
fine.
It's weather sealed. It's fine.
It's okay.
You can stand here for hours. I was
As long as
inside
you've got
cringe.
wait, as long as you've got a weather seal lens though.
Yes,
Don't put a nifty
it's all,
50 on it.
only Canon lenses, nothing else. And I was inside saying, please don't last more than 5 minutes because I'm not going to be cleaning all this up and the colder it gets, condensation inside, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it was good, and the fact that he actually cared, and I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
But this is the reason why,
Yeah.
when
you
when
tend
people
to,
come to this argument
you've
about
upgraded
gear
your equipment on
too much, any
yeah.
job. So when I get any form of job, I'm not having to say no. I can do what I need to do. I feel like Alex has got something to say.
Yeah,
or
what do you
is
want to
he-
say?
So you keep talking over it, man.
We're talking over each other, man.
I
That's-
can
that's
barely
just-
distinguish you both.
That's just us.
That's just how we talk, isn't it?
That is how we talk, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is how we
Unfortunately.
talk. Yeah.
Can we ask how many people we've got watching?
Cares.
4.
Four people
Yeah.
watching. Okay. That's
So-
that's something. that's four more than nobody.
But so here's the thing. Stop bumping the mic, man.
Oops, that's my fault.
So the point I was making is as
You
much
had a
as
point?
yeah, I had a point. As much as I enjoy talking about gear and all that kind of stuff, and I like writing articles about gear, I don't particularly care about upgrading my. So I've got like there's a defined like split in terms of like when I'm working as a professional photographer and when I'm working as a journalist. If I'm writing articles and
Heavily inverted commas.
but well, I do write for Future. So if I'm writing articles or producing videos and doing reviews and so on and so forth, then there's obviously a very different kind of mentality that comes along with that. So when I'm working as a professional photographer, I really don't care about gear. I just care about something that's going to work and something that's not going to get in the way. That's all I care about. But if I'm working as like someone who's writing articles doing gear reviews, then I'm interested in every little nook and cranny about whatever camera.
But then
and
you
so on
have
and
to
so
be,
forth.
don't you?
I have to be.
Yeah.
Then I want to be interested in everything. Then I'm gonna compare all the little things that most people don't really care about. I'm gonna like do things out of curiosity. I'm gonna test things like color science and do silly things like how sharp a particular lens is. When in actualities, when it comes to my own work, I don't care about sharpness. I'll just use like
He's finally said it after all these years. He's finally
no for
come
my
and said it.
own work. For my own work, I don't particularly care about how sharp a lens is at f16. Just use gigapixel, make it sharper in post. There's like what is it? Topaz Labs. They've
Well,
got
no,
their
Photoshop have they on now, so
no Photoshop sharpening is not that good, but
the
like
new one's good. The new one's meant to be really good.
Is it?
I don't use it because I don't tend to sharpen to that. But
no Topaz Labs.
Topaz is apparently meant to be a lot better.
Yeah, it's
I'm
brilliant.
not one to really use plugins and stuff. I hardly use plugins.
No, but honestly, this is brilliant, right? It costs next to nothing in terms of like, well, it's not next to nothing, that's a lie. It is relatively pricey in terms of software.
If you don't know how to focus your camera, it's a good investment.
If you don't know how to focus your camera,
No,
I
I mean
think you
it
should have
doesn't
a
fix.
camera.
It doesn't fix focus issues. But
Unfocus,
let's say you've got an image where you've got a lens which isn't that sharp. This thing just fixes it. Completely resolves any issues. So if your lens isn't like the sharpest lens in the world, instead of upgrading, I'd rather just use that software. I don't want to spend money. I'm cheap. I don't care, man. I'm brown. I'm cheap as hell.
Coming back to your
Clickbait articles.
to your articles and so the latest when you talked about the Fujifilm ones and he says you Sorry, I didn't actually read your latest
Of
one.
course you didn't.
Uh,
Because you got better things to do.
I think I was busy at the time doing stuff.
Yeah, you were busy setting up the studio, right?
I don't remember when it was.
This was only a couple of weeks ago. A few weeks ago. This a few weeks ago, yeah. You were busy setting up the
doing
studio.
other things, more important things.
Yeah.
Tell me briefly about it.
I basically just... So, one of the claims that a lot of people make, like, they say that Fujifilm has the best color science.
Right, okay, we're talking about color science,
So,
yeah. So that's
there's something that you're not interested in at all.
No. I'm definitely interested, but
Okay.
this is where I think it's clearly evident that we know Canon is going to be...
No, I didn't compare
fairly
it to
on the
just
top
Canon.
up there.
I compared it to...
I'm not talking
okay.
about what you compared it to. I'm
Okay.
talking in general. I don't really think that comes in the top 3, top 2.
I think a lot of people, like the Fuji colors, but I don't like it.
Yeah, because you're gonna have fanboys for every brand, aren't you? It's just natural. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you're like a Canon fanboy. Let's be real.
I'm not a fanboy. It's just.
Come on.
I'll tell you why I like.
You don't
Canon.
even.
I'll
You
tell
don't
you why
even.
I like Canon.
Go on.
So before I even bought the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I tell people who ask me for advice about what camera, because I don't tell them. You can't tell someone to go to a specific brand. You don't know. I mean, the tool is just what you use, right?
Yep.
For me, why Canon? Because when I went into Jessups, I believe it was, we used to have one in City Centre before it closed down.
You bought from Jessups?
Yeah.
Damn,
But
that's a long time ago.
It was a very long time ago. So I went in and it was simply okay, I want a camera, I'm not quite sure. And the guy was doing his thing and I can't remember what he said, so I don't even know what he was saying because I didn't know much about photography myself. But for me, all I wanted to do was, can I do 3 things comfortably while holding the camera and I don't have to do all these funny things with my hands.
Yeah.
And I found that with the Nikons, for me, they have the dial on the front, and for me, it's not a very natural move. You have to twist your hand, and it just doesn't feel comfortable for me. Many people are okay with this kind of movement on the hand, and that's fine. Alex is.
He's a Nikon shooter.
So for me, the Canon was a lot easier because we had the dial on the top rather than the front.
Yeah.
And then the ones on the back as well, and it made it a lot more simpler.
Yeah.
So I tried it, and then I left it. I didn't buy anything. That wasn't the intention.
This was the Canon 40D?
400D.
400D. Sorry, yes. This was the 400D all the way back in those days.
Yeah.
I remember you pulling it out like, I'd be like, sure, this is my first ever camera.
And then I went, so that's the one I tried, right? Okay. And then I went back after about a week or two to see again and see if there's any form of muscle memory. Now, I know there shouldn't be because I've not really used it, about 10 minutes each. I still preferred the Canon. So I gave them both a chance, an equal chance. And I thought that was the best way to do it. And then that week, that's when the 450 actually came out. And I bought a mega deal bundle for £750.
Wow.
And I was well pleased with myself.
Oh my gosh.
Got a zoom lens. Had no idea what it meant. And it got small. I bought.
Was it the 70-300?
It was the 7300.
Yeah. Everyone gets that.
That one, the IS version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can actually when you press it, you can hear the motors, and it's like.
Oh, that lens sucked so bad.
It does, yeah. And then no, it wasn't that one. It was the
Sigma.
Not Sigma. What's the other brand? There's another brand. Tamron, and it had a macro feature built in.
Ooh.
Oh.
Probably wasn't even macro though, was it?
It was
very fancy.
Very macro.
Was it?
Yes, and that's one feature I loved.
Okay,
and
was it like 1-to-1 macro, or was it like 1-to-4 macro?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't 120 in that sense. But you could go really.
You could go really close, but you couldn't make it big because it was like 18 millimeters.
yeah. So plus it was like F God knows what. By the time you've gone all the way F8 or something silly, and I never understood how that worked. Yeah. But it was a feature. I was like, wow,
why is it getting dark?
And I think I got a Nifty 50 at the time, which I thought was amazing.
Of course, Nifty 50 classic lens.
Yeah, which it still is.
Yeah.
And then I also got the kit lens as well, which I never really used because I couldn't really.
You know what? That lens is not bad. People make fun of it, but it's actually a pretty good lens.
Yeah, perhaps. I think, whatever. Opinions.
You didn't like that, did you?
No, I won't like that. I won't like that.
But you don't like it looking back at it now, but you liked it when you first had it.
I don't know, but I think, I'll be honest, this sounds really weird, right? So, at the time when I bought it, I did not like the wide end on it, 18. I wasn't comfortable with the 18mm.
Oh.
And I thought, because again, I was just trying to shoot people. And
it's too wide.
And it looked too wide and silly. And I don't like the feel of it. I didn't know about compression and, depth and all that kind of stuff. I was still learning, considering I did my first wedding a week after I bought the camera after 5 days. And
Well
this is the best
done.
bit. The person who took my who booked me for the wedding had 2 photographers, me and a well-known photographer in the area, who I actually looked up to. And that
Ooh,
photographer
that
didn't
must have
deliver.
been-
And my pictures were favoured when they got theirs. Eventually, they favoured mine, and I was really, really pleased with that. Really pleased.
Who's
Really
the
made my day.
photographer you were looking up to? Do I know?
Yeah, somebody. Sorry, no reception. So yeah,
So I do know him.
you probably don't. You probably don't.
You probably introduced me to him like this.
No,
did that?
no, I've only met him I think once or twice.
Okay.
That is all. I mean, I you know, photographers sometimes do silly things and behave stupidly sometimes.
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
they have this ego issue and all that kind of stuff. And
Like
when you
you.
realize, yeah, whatever. When you realize what these people kind of like,
Orange shirt.
when,
You're wearing an orange shirt, man. Shut up.
what has this got to do with ego? These are my Eid clothes.
Eid was Come on, man.
What Eid? This was my first Eid back with my family.
So you're gonna wear the same clothes for like 2 weeks?
No, it's just come out of the wash yesterday.
He's been washing it every day and
I've
wearing
been
it every
washing
day.
it every day ever since. I'm
It was
washing
brighter than that when
It
he
was-
first got it.
It used to have high vis stripes on it.
I had a white T-shirt which is now orange, and yeah, so we've all got matching clothes now at home.
Everyone's got matching clothes because his
Everyone's
orange jumper went in the freaking wash.
The brand is a well-known brand. It doesn't do that.
Everyone's clothes looks a little peach.
So
Sorry, man. We're just making fun of your top today.
it's fine. Better than what you're wearing, perhaps. You only looks good because the light's really good on you today, and I've got.
Don't
this
be
light to
jealous,
work
man.
with.
Don't be jealous. So anyway, okay, clickbait articles. Oh, one of the things I've noticed, and one of the things that a lot of people don't want to admit, is that clickbait articles, in essence, are a reaction to the audience.
They are indeed, and they
Because-
work.
Yeah, because
As
the
much
audience.
as look at hey, take the work.
If you don't have a clickbait article, it's not going to attract the audience.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
that's basically
It's the only thing is about clickbait articles is it has a stigma about it's going to be a load of junk,
yeah.
which people have hence come up with the term clickbait. You know,
Yeah.
it's not real,
Like he's baiting you to
Yeah,
click, but when you
to
get
click
into
on-
it, it's
that-
just going to
it's
be
just
ads
nothing.
and fake,
That-
and you know,
exactly.
it's not going to be a real article.
which is a shame
But that's
because
not. But that's not really the case because
No, it isn't. That's the thing.
There's a real article there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's actual content there which shows you stuff and whatever.
whether it's going to be useful to you is another matter.
Yeah.
So sometimes you do get people who write genuinely good articles, unlike yourself, and sometimes
Thanks
that
for that.
stuff is really good. And people just think it's clickbait when really it isn't. And the only negative to that, I think, is that they lose out.
Yeah.
They lose out. It's just when people do these, horrendous articles, silly comparisons, £1,000 camera versus a 50,000. It's like, why?
Because
That's
it's
like
fun.
clickbait and clickbait. That is like clickbait and unnecessary. And this you just
Well, thanks
wasted
for that. You literally
that
just
time of
shut
those
down my whole
people.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, because my top. Yeah, I'm just come back in defense one day. That's all it is.
I find it interesting if someone were to take even an iPhone versus a Hasselblad, right? I find it interesting to see
What it
just
would
how
do.
much of a real world difference
It would
there
make.
isn't.
I agree.
In the hands of a good photographer, it goes back to the whole. It's not the gear, it's the shooter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do this. I liked that article. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was interesting. The concept was interesting. The idea was interesting. It really was. But did it need to be article worthy? I don't know.
Well,
Perhaps because
but
I
I
think
didn't
there
write
may
that
have been
article.
other people who
But
think
I
that
didn't
as
write
well.
that article though. This was before I was writing for anyone. I just produced a video.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, my apologies. I probably meant the video.
Okay.
But
What's that?
even if you're comparing, because I think it's really valuable for, especially people who are entering photography on the lower end of the market.
Yeah.
It's really valuable for them to see that a 400 or whatever we're on now. What's the lowest camera that Canon do?
4000D,
Okay, so
2000D.
2000.
one of them.
So I think it's
2000.
very valuable for them to see that a 2000D can perform more or less as well as a 1D in most situations in the hands of someone skilled. It's only when you're pushing the envelope that those differences matter.
I'd like to agree with you on that one, but I think
So what
you
he's
are
talk-
probably pushing it.
I should
just a
clarify.
little bit.
I should clarify. We're talking specifically about image quality, because the image quality differences between APS-C, full frame, and medium format
Yeah.
negligible.
Yeah, I agree.
Negligible.
Yeah.
But the handling, the handling and the reliability.
Well, this is if you've got the control environment for all of them, perhaps.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is the handling.
The challenges, and obviously there's a stark difference.
Yeah, things like handling autofocus and just being able to that professional feel, the compatibility, the flexibility. Those things are different. We're not talking about that.
It also depends on what you're shooting.
Of course it does. Yeah.
And
I mean, you're going to get
in
a
the
much.
nicest way possible. When you're starting out, most of what you're shooting is going to be. You're not going to be pushing the envelope of what you can achieve with one hand because you can't reach the controls fast enough.
No, I agree. I mean, I'll give you an example why I partially agree and partially disagree with you, Alex, on that one. We actually we did a shoot last week. It was when we had a 5 camera setup, and just to give you an idea of the cameras that we had set up on this show was a Canon. He's going to kill me for not remembering. Even he didn't remember which one it was. It was a 1000D, right? A camera 1000D. It might have been a 2000D. I was shooting a video on it. So we had proper lighting. The scene was lit properly. So we didn't have any dark areas, so we didn't have to boost ISO and all that kind of stuff necessarily. Now, so that was a camera to be on the right hand side. On the left hand side, we had, so that camera did have the kit lens that came with it. Yes, it did. And then we had 2 Canon R6s. We then had a Huawei P30 Pro mobile phone. Yes, a Huawei P30 mobile phone for one angle. We also had a Canon G5X Mark I for the top angle. And then we also had a DJI, DJI Osmo action camera.
Okay, get to the point, man. We get it. You had a lot of cameras. Get to the point.
The reason I'm mentioning the cameras is so you get an idea of the sensors sizes of what we used. Now, after the R6s, I want you to guess and tell me which camera you think performed best.
Obviously R6.
After.
Oh, after the R6.
Yes.
G7X.
No. The Huawei.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
In terms of color, lighting, autofocus, obviously, and I'm not even going to talk about the exposure because I actually put it on manual exposure because you can shoot video on a manual setting in terms of shutter speed only and ISO.
Well, aperture's fixed anyway.
Aperture's fixed. So and it was perfect, right? No issues. The Canon, the lower range Canon was the least performing one in terms of color and in terms of.
Can I just interject very quickly?
Sure.
So, here's the thing though. What you're doing is you're comparing low-end cameras.
Yes.
But the video features of low-end cameras
is not the same.
Because
that's what I was trying.
But listen,
I didn't know this before that. I was wanting to give it a chance.
If you were to compare image quality, that would be very different. So it's only very recently that Canon has started to take video seriously.
Of course it is.
So when you compare video from like almost any decent level camera or smartphone and compare it to like low-end Canon cameras, those Canon cameras for video are gonna suck
big time
because they were never ever designed for video. No. It was just like a massive afterthought. They never. But if you compare image quality, then it's going to be a very different case because they focused on image.
That is something I'm actually going to do. The camera still sat at the studio. We don't use it. It's still in its box.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting time until I do the image comparison from the Huawei. Actually, my Huawei, the Mate.
Huawei
40.
Yeah, Huawei.
Huawei. From Huawei. Huawei. From Huawei. And the 2 Canons. So basically, it's going to be an interesting thing that I'm going to try. But coming back to like the quality was just really, really bad. And yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. But I just wanted to see it for myself because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to see it. So that camera wasn't there specifically to be used. It was just like a camera. If I can use it, I will use it. If it works, it works. But it didn't.
Like one of the odd angles that you could possibly work, and if it doesn't work, then you
no
can
big
just
deal. I had something else backed up anyway.
Yeah.
But that might be an interesting article. That I might give it an interesting title, like "Wow, Canon camera beats Canon camera," but they don't know which camera I'm talking about.
You don't even write articles. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna start writing articles.
You don't even want
to. We're gonna get back in the game, man. It's been a hard couple of years.
So wait, all this time you're giving me a hard time about clickbait, right?
When I'm
now,
nothing myself.
When you're going to get into it, the first thing you're going to do is clickbait.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna say Canon versus Canon.
Canon versus Canon.
Is it clickbait? No, you need to know. You need to find out.
I don't know, man.
You need to read to find. If I tell
So
you
here's
what
the
it's
thing.
about, why are you gonna read the article?
Wait. Let's go back to one of the points that you made, right? You made one of the points where it's like a lot of people write really good articles, but they don't have clickbait titles, so people just overlook them and no one actually reads the articles. And that's a really good thing.
But it also happens where they do have good titles, and again, people think that it's just clickbait as well.
No, but let's finish. So you know how, and that's a very good point that you made, because a lot of times I've noticed where someone's written a really detailed article about an important subject, about something that's valuable, and guess what? A couple of thousand people read it. That's it.
If anything, yeah.
That's it. And then I write an article about Nikon talking about how, maybe Nikon should give up or whatever. And it's in the title, right? And it's a clickbait article. It's a clickbait title, but I'm talking, about Nikon all the way through. And I get like 180,000 views on that. And then you think, well, the audience is basically
looking for it.
In essence.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Do you think you've branded yourself ever so slightly without wanting to brand yourself in that manner as one of those kind of controversial article? And some people do like that.
But here's the thing. The reason why I find it a little bit silly when people say, oh, he's just trying to be controversial, is like, I'm sat here thinking, it's just a freaking camera. Come on. Lighten up. Seriously? Yeah, I know some people might find that a little bit condescending. I get that. And it is condescending. And
to an extent it is, and it also isn't, because you are right. It's just a camera.
It is condescending, and I apologize to an extent. But after that point, I'm like, seriously, come on, guys. It's literally just a camera.
Yeah, but if people didn't do that, then we won't be having this situation. So it's needed. So let them carry on. Again, I apologize. I don't mean no offense to anybody or didn't mean to hurt anybody. But yeah, carry on. He's the a-hole, not me.
But I mean, in my view, I just whenever I'm writing an article, I have an opinion about it. But to me, I just find it odd that just having an opinion in the photography industry is controversial.
It is.
That's it. So, for example, like Alex and I, we work in the cigar industry as well. Okay, so we have a YouTube channel there, and we talk a lot about.
Slightly stretch.
Well, what's the stretch?
Working in the cigar industry.
But we do that. I do work in the cigar industry. Well, I do anyway. Yeah. I work with a lot of companies. And you're part of the channel now. Yeah. Shut up. Stop interrupting me, man.
We're on the same team, boy. We're on the same team.
Yeah, we're on the team, man. I'm trying to say something good about you. And he's like, oh, I'm not. So we do work in the cigar industry because we're literally doing interviews with people. Anyway, so we work in the cigar industry, right? And one thing I've noticed is when you present an opinion in the cigar industry, which is controversial, which is genuinely clickbait controversial.
So give me an example.
So I produced a video where I said that 3 reasons why Cuban cigars are in fact the best.
Which is an opinion.
That is an opinion. But it's also some more controversial opinion because a lot of people are like, listen, man, Cuban cigars have been like riding these long coattails for a long time when the cigars aren't really that good. And there's so many New World brands which are actually really, really good and people should consider them. I agree with that. But I also think that Cuban cigars, for me, I think Cuban cigars are the best. Yeah. And when I produce those videos, the reaction from the people is distinctly different. Like
compared
significantly different. They have, it's a far more relaxed. Do you know what the reaction was? A lot of people were like, oh, well, if you like Cuban cigars, that's perfectly fine, man. I prefer New Worlds. What do you think of this New World? Have you ever tried this one?
So
it's so incredibly different. Hello, Mumu. Even my cat agrees. He like, does. Yeah.
He does.
It's so constructive. It's far more constructive. On occasions where I will say, I'll make jokes about a particular brand, right? I'll make jokes about, leave my cat alone.
He just won't come to me.
No, he doesn't like you.
He doesn't like my talk.
No. So on occasions, if I'll make fun about a particular brand or if I'll say something, whatever, right? No one takes it seriously. No one takes it overly seriously. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, they are a bit silly, aren't they? Okay, let's go smoke something else instead.
So you're not You're not getting that reaction as what photographers might do.
Almost no one.
You know,
it's so rare.
The keyboard warrior comes out.
There's very few. In fact, I've only had one keyboard warrior, and even then, he gave up after one comment. It was like so ridiculously chill. So it was more welcoming. It was completely relaxed. There was no negative vibe. So anyone can have an opinion, and people just kind of turn around and be like, "Oh, okay, I'm sure, if you agree with that, if that's what you think, then that's perfectly fine." Seriously, man, he's
fine.
Leave him alone, man.
Look,
so it's completely relaxed, and there's a very chilled environment. And even if you have a controversial opinion, even if you're not trying to be like, if you're not actively trying to be
you can
unreasonable about
trying
it.
To be that,
yeah, if you're not trying to be that guy, if you just present an opinion, people are fine with it.
So
but in the photography industry,
it's a different. I know.
If you even have a remote mild opinion, the fanboys will come after you. Like the crybabies in our industry is just unfathomable.
I mean, I am a bit of a Canon fanboy, but
no, you are definitely a Canon fanboy.
Simply because I like the products, they work for me, I'm happy.
Listen, you are definitely a Canon fanboy. Don't even try and like.
I'm a Canon fanboy. There you go.
Admit it, okay? Right? Just deal with it.
If somebody said something's negative, like it happens, you have your opinions. People do. It doesn't bother me. Why? Because it doesn't affect my work. It doesn't affect my life. It doesn't affect my gear.
Yeah.
You can say that because you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
Just like,
But that's how the cigar industry. That's how the cigar industry predominantly like.
Now, what I'm getting in my head, the picture I'm getting in my head, because I don't know what the cigar community is like. Obviously, I don't smoke cigars and I'm not around those people. Yeah. But I've seen you and Alex smoke cigars. And the one thing I noticed is when you two are smoking cigars, one thing I noticed what you both had in common. You were very relaxed.
Yeah.
You were very calm.
Yeah.
You were at peace to an extent, right?
Yeah.
And that probably is the image of the rest of them. They sat there, they chilled out, they're having a cigar. Oh, he said something about that cigar. No, it is cool. That's his opinion.
But I don't think everyone's smoking a cigar when
and
they're watching
he's relaxed. No, but they're relaxed. You got relaxed people. With the people behind cameras, no. Why did he say that? No, you can't say that about my camera brand. I paid so much money for this camera brand. This camera brand is good. I'm loyal to them.
Yeah, but
why did you say this? Right, let's get the keyboard out. Let's put the cap locks on and we're going to start. I don't have an account with them. I'm going to make 3 accounts with them to make sure I can make comments under different names and attack him on different angles. I'm going to go to his Instagram and pick a really shitty image.
Oh my gosh.
And start commenting there as well. And that is it.
I've had people chase down my Instagram. I've had people send me emails. I've had a lot of... It
can get hilarious.
And I'm just
it's one reason why I had my Instagram pretty high up and then I had to close the account down because I was getting loads of really, really silly comments about the kind of stuff that I was doing, which was nothing. I was only people say, why don't you compare? And I was like, I don't like comparing stuff because I just talk about stuff I buy and my experience. Yeah. That is all. I'm not a comparison kind of person.
That's me.
I don't buy, I don't buy 2 brands and compare because I don't have the money or the time to do so.
Yeah.
I bought a product. I've used it for a month, 2 months, and I like it. I will talk about it. I will take the time out and I will talk about it, and then I'll continue to use it. That's the kind of way I work, and that's quite evident in my YouTube videos. But some people don't understand that. Well, why are you not comparing? And there's times when I don't like things as well. And some people see it as unfair because I'm not comparing it against anything.
Yeah.
But no, that isn't what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not trying to compare. I'm just giving my opinion, honest opinion on this particular product.
Yeah.
And maybe there's an alternative. So this is the reason why I use f-stop bags compared to low pro bags because there's certain elements that I like about them. And there's also Billingham bags which are also fantastic and suit
I love Billingham.
And for what they do, they're absolutely amazing. But they're 2 different things for 2 different purposes.
They're very different. I mean, Billingham bags are shoulder bags. We want to use it in a particular way.
Yeah,
and
correct.
Yeah, completely.
I probably might not turn up to a really posh event with an f-stop bag. I will probably use my Billingham bag.
This is the thing that gets me, right? For some people, it would be a bad thing for me to say, and this is perfectly true, I think Billingham bags are great. I would hate to use one. Some people would go off at me for that.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because it's a shoulder bag. I don't get on my shoulder bags.
Yeah.
They don't work for me. Fine. The bags are great.
Yeah.
But you
you prefer
can't
backpack.
have that nuanced opinion in some circles.
Yeah.
Correct. You're absolutely right.
You're
I mean,
no,
I
you're
don't know
absolutely
how deep that is with bags as such, but it's probably more with
with
the
Yeah,
camera
just
brands,
an
the lens and
example.
stuff. No, but you're
yeah,
actually
yeah.
right.
No,
you're
it's the
absolutely
same
right.
with like camera brands. If you have any opinion about any particular brand in the photography industry, someone's going to be a crybaby about it.
So, so I do a lot of my work on the streets, right?
Yeah.
People can
On the streets, innit? He's been working on the streets, bro.
Yeah, not
He has
streets.
it. Times are hard.
So people can approach me. I get it all the time, and my colleagues do as well. Oh, is it Canon or Nikon?
Yeah.
Who cares?
And
Yeah.
I'm like, it works.
Don't say the N word.
I mean, okay, current production notwithstanding, but for the most part, the direct competitors, their cameras are practically the same.
Yeah.
It works. Does it matter?
I mean, from DSLRs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on
Okay.
DSLRs,
I know.
Canon and Nikon are
Current issue
basically
notwithstanding.
interchangeable.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
I actually know an astrophotographer who uses a Nikon body with an adapter to use Canon lenses for
Why?
astrophotography.
it's just making things more difficult for no
It is,
reason.
and they're not. They're obviously the manual lenses that he's using, and
You couldn't even, like,
he's
focus
going
down
by tests that he's done and swears by all this. I'm like, really, you know. I've done some good Milky Way shots that I'm really happy with. That I've
Yeah.
printed, that I've sold, etc.
Hello, Mumu.
And nothing's really
Chapters
bothered
got
me.
that wish.
So it's just again, it's somebody who really has gone into immense detail and
Yeah.
taken the time out to really do that, and he's discovered that this odd combination, this hybrid, works for him.
Oh my gosh.
But there's nothing wrong with it, and I
Oh my
respect that.
gosh,
I'm like,
that sounds
you know
like
what?
such
That's
a-
fantastic.
I get that.
That's
I get
great.
that. You know, if he said that, oh, this is what I do, I'm gonna be like, okay, fine, go, whatever.
He
you know.
basically
But
wasn't
in my
happy
head,
with this kind of setup, and he was
Yeah.
just trying to find a solution, and he's found it. How did he
oh,
come?
if he's happy, that's fine.
You know,
But
how
in
did he
my
come to the
head-
idea that I'm going to Frankenstein this and sort of like make it work? I
Oh.
did not know that there was an adapter for Canon and Nikon.
I
I
don't
did
think
not know that there
it's
was
not going to
one.
even work properly because the flange just anyway. Forget that.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
that technical issue, but
Yeah.
he's overcome it, and it's probably why he's using manual lenses.
Hmm.
But then that also helps when you're doing astro stuff. You know, the manual stuff, it's a lot easier.
Well,
And
that's true, you
he is
can't
a
even see
bloody
at
good
night time.
photographer. So
Mm,
maybe it does. It does.
I guess so.
I mean, I don't know what
No,
sort
fair
of
enough. I mean,
title
if he's
he'd
doing
give.
if he's doing a great job, that's perfectly fine. You know, go nuts, do whatever.
See,
the
now
hell you
if I
wanna
was
do.
somebody like him and I was to write an article about him, you know, my title would be Canon or Nikon. Well, both are amazing.
Yeah.
See, now that isn't very catchy.
See now, here's the thing. If he wrote an
and it's
article,
an interesting article.
but if he wrote an article talking about why he prefers, and this is like he's not even trying to be clickbait. It's just I prefer using Nikon cameras with Canon lenses,
Yes.
which is not clickbait. It is
No, it's a
literally
fact.
exactly what he's doing.
Correct.
Right? He would write that. He would get so much hate for it. He would get so much hate for it from like loads of people in the comments.
Correct. They would.
There would be so many freaking crybabies about that. And that's the thing.
And that's when they're all become professionals.
And that's the thing, like you can't particularly have an opinion in the photography industry without someone jumping up and down and having a go at you about it.
It's hard to have nuance in that opinion.
You can't have any nuance. It's either X or Y.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really say I don't like Fuji colors. I love Fuji cameras, but I think Fujifilm should maybe produce a profile which is going to be good for commercial work because these profiles, in my opinion, not that great. If you say that, then it's like, oh, you know, this guy, blah blah blah. It's like, oh my gosh, chill your bati.
Yeah.
You know,
But again, maybe you know what?
maybe they're not smoking cigars. That's why.
Maybe that as well. But maybe it comes back down to the work that they're doing isn't as, you know, valuable or sort of.
No, I don't agree
require-
with that. I don't agree with that. I
doesn't
think that
require what you might need.
No,
There has to
I
be a
don't.
difference.
I don't
There's an
agree with that.
element
I think
there.
that there are loads of photographers out there and loads of commenters out there who are probably very capable photographers, and maybe they're doing similar kinds of work and whatever. But just because we're doing similar kinds of work, even if we're not doing similar kinds of work, and even if we are, that's irrelevant. It's not about what we're doing. It's about the fact that, like the guy you're talking about, he just wants to use Canon lenses with Canon
that's
lenses
right,
on
yeah.
Nikon cameras.
Yeah.
That's all he wants to do. In my opinion, I just think that Fujifilm, especially for the medium format cameras, should have a commercial grade profile that's not trying to mimic film. I don't particularly care about having a filter on my images. That's just my opinion on that particular thing.
It would be nice to have an accurate profile alongside those other things.
Exactly. Especially if you've got a commercial grade. This is a 100 megapixel medium format camera designed for like high-end commercial work, and all of the color profiles are like less than sRGB. Because film in essence, like I looked it up, film, it's weird because, you know, one's analog and one's digital.
I know.
It's a silly, it's a weird way that someone's worked this out. But let's just go with the information that someone's presented. The color profile for film is significantly smaller than Adobe RGB.
Well, Adobe RGB isn't.
But Adobe RGB is what? No, but it's a much wider color gamut, right?
Than sRGB, yeah.
And GFX cameras have 16-bit color, which is like billions more than what full frame cameras have. So if you're limiting that to a film profile,
you're not making much use
I'm
of
just,
it,
you know, sure you can produce a custom, like if you produce a customized CC profile for the GFX, it looks amazing. Like seriously incredible, because the colors can, you know, they can stretch so much more. They've got way more range to be able to push around.
Even the basic Canons can do.
Yeah, but the GFX
profiles.
No, but the GFX genuinely has incredible color if you put a customized CC profile.
So they don't even have anything that's neutral.
They don't have anything neutral. It's all based on film.
Oh, it's neutral, but it's like film-based neutral.
It's all film. Yeah, and because film doesn't have any degree of commercial accuracy.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
it varies on
film,
how it's.
A lot of people are like, oh well, you know, loads of photographers all the way through their, you know, era used to shoot with film. Yeah, but that's all they had.
That's all they had.
That's all they had. Now, film is a limited color profile.
Correct.
You know, those were limitations that they had with film, and that's what they had to do in terms of like, what's the best we can get out of this equipment.
Well, it more was like, what look are we going for? And then they shot on the film according to that, didn't they?
But they had limitations, like massive,
of course they did.
Massive limitations when it came to film, and that's what they could. That's the best that they could do. Now we don't have that.
No,
now we've got so much more in terms of capability, and we can produce sensors that can gather much more color.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, having those film profiles is useful for some kinds of photography. In your X series cameras, great. But for your GFX series, give us one commercial grade profile, just one, which is like, you know, relatively.
So I've seen these profiles, just ones that you're talking about on the XT, are they? The small, nice, retro looking cameras.
Yeah.
And they looked quite nice, like toyish, you know, you had like a weird toy, you know, like a tilt and shift effect, and it looked kind of like gimmicky, but it looked all right, you know. But you also had a standard profile as well, and I thought, this is interesting. Nothing that I would ever use, but all right if you try out for that kind of, you know, Instagram.
Yeah.
You take the shot, Wi-Fi it across, Instagram done, ready, nothing else.
Yeah.
So for that kind of stuff, it's absolutely fine. But for somebody like me who hardly posts on Instagram, I don't shoot for Instagram. I shoot for me or the client. Then whatever the result is, if I like it, I'll put it on Instagram. But I know there's many people out there, again, probably discussion for
you shoot for your client's Instagram account. But
for Instagram, I know people I've been out with, people who I've actually done one-to-ones with, who say, how do we shoot for Instagram or Facebook? And I just stand there and sigh, and I'm like...
You are such an old school photographer, man. Dear God.
Well,
listen,
again, Instagram a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to tell you what I say. You need to tune in. You need to come back in a couple of weeks or whenever we do talk about it, because it's a very interesting subject to talk about.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss it.
But yeah, clickbait articles, you know, I guess it's what it is.
It is what
we have an industry where you kind of almost require clickbait just to be able to be heard, because
you do.
That's what it is. You know, there's so much going on. But then also on the flip side, we've got an audience which kind of almost demands that, and we've also got, let's be honest, we've got one of the most crybaby audiences that we can kind of deal with.
We also have as well, but I think again,
then, you know, it's. I mean, obviously, I'm not perfect in this scenario. You know, I'm obviously, you know, intentionally looking at certain things. I'm like, okay, this is going to get a lot of attention, and
because that is the intention of the article in the first place. You want to get attention, and honest titles sometimes don't work. That's what it is.
The titles are honest.
No, what I mean in the sense where we want it to be as catchy, but
yes,
kind of. What I mean by honest articles is that. If it sounds boring but honest, it probably won't be catchy enough. Why do we call them clickbait? Is because whatever's said in the title doesn't reference anything in the article.
But the titles. But we have to. Like if I'm writing for Petapixel F-stoppers,
you have to.
If I don't, the editor's just gonna come back like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
You know.
But there's plenty who don't write like that.
There's
write for
no
themselves,
way.
And those are probably the ones. And it's happened where we've probably crossed platforms. You know, where legit. This is what I said earlier on about legitimate things become clickbait just because the conception that people have in their minds. That's the downside to these things. So so that's
the
conclusion will be it is what it is.
It is what it is. Deal with it.
For now, you have to
smoke a cigar, chill
smoke
yourself,
a cigar, chill, and live life and carry on. I guess.
What's he doing?
He's high again. I think.
We need a third cat cam.
Yeah, we need a cat cam.
We need a cat cam. I think. Well, I have got 2 more cameras which I did offer to bring today, but
no, we didn't want them. We don't want your fancy R6s.
You don't want my very unfancy D4 and a D800.
Yeah,
no thanks.
Right.
No Nikons.
Got my phone.
Yeah, that do.
You were both my cameras put together.
How old's your camera now? 2015?
No, 2005.
No. D4.
1994.
D4 was 8 years old. Yeah. 2013, I think.
If it was made by Apple, it'd be really. If it was made by Apple, it'd be not serviceable, not repairable. You'd be frowned at.
So Alex is still using camera 8 years old. I'm still using a camera which is about.
See, that's a really good example because
6 years old.
I'm not saying this because Alex is here.
Yeah.
Stuff that he does produce with his camera are all right.
Yeah, but he always complains about the camera though.
But the thing is, I'm stood next to people with cameras that are 5 generations newer.
Yeah.
So in isolation, the stuff I produce is perfectly fine for what its use case is because it's getting printed in newspapers.
Yeah.
No one cares.
No. What I don't.
A potato and you wouldn't know the difference.
It's like 2 megapixels across the board.
2 megapixel potato. 2 mega potatoes.
I'm stood next to people who are using the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
And we can shoot exactly the same thing and it can both be in focus, but theirs will just look a bit better.
But not when it comes down to print and in the paper. It's not gonna.
JPEG profiles are nicer.
Yeah.
And that's what we're shooting because you have to be quick.
Yeah.
And so their transmitters are also quicker, so they get them in faster, so they get used.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to when.
No, that's a very good point.
Of course it is, and it's 100% true. But
so
the thing is,
it's fine, but
when I guess when it gets printed in the same paper, at that tiny little size or whatever it's going to happen at, really? Can you really tell? I don't know. I stopped looking at papers a long time
I don't think
ago.
you can tell, but it's not the point. That's not.
I know that's not the point.
The point is that,
but that is where
it's the transmission speed.
I mean,
it's
comes down to more than just image quality.
Of course, it comes
like
down
the
to
image quality differences are negligible.
If you look at if you look at what he just said, the end result, what the end result's going to be, right?
It kind of
depends. Again, in isolation, it's fine, and that because you're just doing what you're doing and whatever you're doing, and that's fine because there's no comparison there. But I mean, of course, the other factors come into it as well.
Yeah.
But again, they might get them quicker.
Yeah.
But if that newspaper is going to come out tomorrow, they can have that picture today or last minute. So long as it's in time for print,
transmission speed in that industry does make a difference.
Of course, because now they're printing because now it's going online different times. Now we've got different things, haven't we, as well? There's different forms of media.
Like how
it's not all going to be out
for
the paper the next day. They're just like taking the picture and it's got to be with them straight away.
Yeah.
Because they're putting up on the websites, they're putting up for whatever. This, that, the other people need to know very quickly.
Just a second, Alex. The articles, how soon do they go up? Seconds, right? Yeah. So transmission speed in that industry is just like it's got to be right now.
Of course it has.
So yeah, your company needs to sort it out, man. I don't care if they're watching. Sort him out with a camera. They're not going to be watching.
And a better gimbal.
Yeah, get him a gimbal as well. What's this freaking? What was that nonsense like?
Glide cam. I sent you the picture of it, and I sent Alex a picture of it.
They were like, oh my gosh.
The Glide Cam 2000, I think.
Yeah.
I even have the weights for it extra, which I packed up somewhere and the nuts and bolts. I actually took it out and I was like, I tried it and I thought, no, I'm just going to put it back.
Okay, let's not talk about that because I don't think our audience is going to know what the hell we're on about.
But
over an hour now as well.
That's cool. We're almost done anyway. But yeah, clickbait articles, I guess that's what it is. I don't think it's going to change. I think the cigar.
I think it's going to get worse in the sense where they're going to be more clickbaity, so like more tempting. And
no, I think, but the audience itself. I think the audience itself really needs to just chill out a bit. Like,
and that's what I mean because.
But I don't think they're going to. So
no, they're not going to. I don't think it is. And I'll tell you why though. I'll tell you why I think that, because now I'm working in a bit of media and stuff. You learn different things every day. If you have a look at, I mean, I'm not a Snapchat user or a TikTok user, but if you have a look at how they work and how easy it is to not pay attention. And what I mean by that is, it literally is, because I've seen people use it. You've seen something, you're not happy with it, and you just flick and it's gone. It's not coming back, it's gone. Then the next one, if you're not catching somebody's eye within 2 seconds or 2 milliseconds, it's gone. Yeah. That's the same principle with the clickbait article. If you're not getting that attention, and now it's getting harder and harder. Yeah, of course. To get the attention. Hence, that's what I mean by it's not going to get better. Getting the attention, get more and more catchier.
But getting the attention, that's one thing.
Look at an example of YouTube thumbnails, how ridiculous some can get.
But hear me out. Like, getting someone's attention is one thing. That's not, I mean, that's just what it is. But I think that as an audience, I mean, we're just talking about cameras here. We're not talking about anything really serious. But people still take it to heart, and I just find that a little bit strange. No, but I don't think that's going to change.
The reason I was saying that is because how the human behavior gets, we adapt to a certain technique, right? What happens is that
no. We're not talking about clickbait specifically. What we're talking about is the emotional response that people have to the actual content, not the title, to the actual content.
That can vary, can't it? It's a difficult
one. I guess so, but I guess, the majority of people kind of have a healthy response. But then there is a segment, a core of people who tend to kind of just take it a little too far. And they don't know how to regulate properly when it comes to like just seeing something that they disagree with, but just going off the handle about it. Like,
why that is, again, I don't think it's a question you can actually answer, because who knows? We don't
that's
know.
The thing. That's the comparison I was making.
This is the thing. I do read articles. I don't read a lot. I do read articles. And when I do, very rarely do I even go to the comments, because I'm not going to learn anything from there. Yeah. Generally. Sometimes there might be something and it is valuable. But most of the time I'm like, no, I know what I need to know from here. That's enough for me. Yeah. I'm not going to waste time and get involved in this, because you can get caught into this. Yeah. Sometimes it's very easy to get caught into it, but again, for me, it's like, I'm not bothered. It's not relevant. I'm not even going to waste my time. I would rather see, what was that about? I would rather find another article and just read that instead. But there are people who will get really serious and, like what you just said, get really into it and defend something that you probably said that's been
if I make a passing, even a slight passingly mildly negative point. But that's the comparison I was making before, where I was basically saying, the difference between the photography industry and how people react to certain things in that industry versus how people react to things in the cigar industry. Because we're working in both industries now, and the cigar industry, it's like, it's completely different. You could say, I mean, obviously without taking it too far, you could say almost anything reasonable and people don't react in such a negative way. But in the photography industry, it doesn't matter how reasonable your opinion is, someone's going to be offended.
I think this happens in general, how photographers sometimes are.
Let's close this down anyway. But go on, let's finish.
I was just going to say, generally, like a lot of photographers' mindset's a bit different.
Why though?
The why, again, is something that I don't think we can really answer. It's a difficult one. I personally think partially due to ego. People do think, and this is common in the area that we live in, right?
Let's talk about this more, because I think we're getting into this subject quite a bit. But let's talk about this and fans of particular camera brands or whatever. Let's talk about this more next week. Yeah. So next week we're going to talk about which manufacturer has the worst fans and the best fans and all that kind of stuff. And then we can discuss that in more detail.
So my from my stance on that one is going to be very neutral, because I'm not a fanboy of any brand.
Listen, you are.
I'm going to be on the listener side on this.
Look, you are absolutely one without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, let's just
Canon fanboy.
Let's just make that term clear.
But wait, fanboy. But let me just qualify that as well. You are absolutely a Canon fanboy, but you also don't particularly care what other people think. So that's the difference.
But I also won't go up there and start defending the brand for no reason.
You don't try and convert anyone. Like, you don't want to try and like
I won't.
You don't want to try and like make other people think the way you think.
No.
You are just a fan of what you like.
That is
but
it.
you don't care about.
That is it.
Yeah. Which is reasonable.
Which is, yes,
Which
I'm
is
a mild fanboy, perhaps.
Oh, no. You are absolutely a fanboy.
So if you were to write an article on the 1DX Mark III being absolutely crap compared to a Nikon, I wouldn't go up and start.
Yeah, you wouldn't care.
I wouldn't bother.
But you are still a Canon fanboy.
But if that qualifies me as still a Canon fan, I'm happy to say.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why you think that's a bad thing.
I mean, it's good you just clear that, because a lot of time people do think fanboy means no, you have to be like a soldier, like you're out.
You got to defend them to the death.
I'm a fanboy, but I'm not allowed to defend anything. Yeah. If I believe you think you know something wrong, I'll try to correct you to where I think you'll understand. If I think you don't want to, I would leave you alone. Yeah, that is what I know.
I completely agree.
And that's where it stands for me.
I completely agree with that.
It's that thing.
Enough about that, because we've got to end this live stream now. But I'm going to tell you right now, you are a fanboy for Canon.
Cool.
You absolutely are.
I will wear the t-shirt next week.
Even Alex knows this, and he's nodding there. But anyway, we're going to talk about that next week, and we'll discuss that in more detail. We'll talk about which camera brands are the worst and best fanboys and why and so on and so forth. But in the meantime, this has been our first ever live show where we talk about clickbait articles and, my articles and how you hate them. So thanks for that.
Well, it's been interesting. It's been a bit here and there, I guess, for the first one, but I think that was going to happen.
No, I thought it was great. We kind of like,
went off. And I was gone and I didn't realize.
Yeah, we went off on different subjects, but that's fine. It's not a problem. And yeah, I guess we're going to try and do more of these. If you have any comments, suggestions, or any thoughts that any subjects that you want us to cover, by all means, please get in touch in the comments or whatever. And hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.